News, and I'm here with Vera Halle, who was our guest speaker today, one of the most important guest speakers actually. She has an incredible experience in the world of international organizations as well as with NGOs. She is the director of Pangea, and she is a senior advisor for IFAD. And so she's here to answer some of our questions for our UNISAMUN friends. So I would like to know your opinion about this initiative. What do you think about UNISAMUN? How do you think events could actually help us on our career path?
Well, I think it's a wonderful thing because it's a great experience really learning how the UN and how, if you wish, delegations and countries engage on issues in the UN system. I mean, it's a very good practice. It gets you to practice, to understand the procedures and so forth and so on. It really helps you to later on, as you do your studies and pursue your particular career path, to also know how the system works, because you've already been in that process of how the UN. Definitely, it's a plus. So, continuing doing these kinds of programs and engaging people on a regular basis in this process is great, because that's how we all learn, is by having that repetition of processes. So I think conferences are very excellent for young people and for their learning about the UN system.
Thank you very much. Another question that I have for you is, since you're a woman and you have such a brilliant career, and at the same time I know that you're really interested in gender issues, I would like to know what obstacles are there still for women in pursuing a career such as this one of the international organizations?
Well, definitely it is difficult for women as it is for men to enter, but I would say there is probably an element that it's a higher dimension of difficulty for women. But I think if you have the right skill set and you have the right determination, and I think that you have the principles and the focus to address those issues that you're passionate about in the system, I think you will find a way. I would never compromise my personal, principles and views just to achieve a certain. I told my bosses, sometimes the president of the organization, I felt that this issue was not addressed in the best manner. I would not just simply. I would not be a yes person all the time. That's not. So you have to preserve your integrity as an individual, in my opinion. It doesn't mean that you have to be vocal about it and so on, but you can express it. Second thing is that as women, we have, I think, slightly, more, in touch with, with interests and feelings and concerns and so on. So we are much more sensitive to the environment and people that we work with. And we can, I think, overall become much better managers because we're much more sensitive to other parties that are working, other colleagues and so on. So use all of the skills that you have as a woman, but also use your academic and professional skills to the fullest. Always come prepared. Always come ready to, deal with it in a meeting or in a situation by being prepared. That's how you're going to gain the respect of your colleagues, your, of course, your managers, your superiors. It's always the case. You cannot not do that job.
Thank you very much. So, as a young woman, I'm wondering, as I'm sure many of the delegates present here today, how do you balance your private life with a professional life in the field of international organizations, which basically implies having to travel a lot for sure and moving? Yeah.
That is always a very difficult. It's a commitment that you make, and you hopefully choose a partner that has a similar interest. Because if the department your partner doesn't like travel and doesn't want to be, you being away from home for a very lengthy period of time, then it becomes a strain on the relationship. So I think first is a partner that has a similar perspective on international it's issues in international engagement, because that's what you know. Second of all, I mean, I raised my son and I was working many times away, but I had a structure. I had my parents or housekeeper, so it's not a perfect ideal situation, but the fact is, as a result, he was given many opportunities and traveled with me to different countries, and he's as international as I am, although he's focused in the business event. So you can translate your passion to your children, and at first they will obviously miss you not being there all the time, but you can bring other benefits, and when they become adults, they'll appreciate it far more.
Thank you very much. Now, as far as your job is concerned, what's the most beautiful memory that you have about it?
Well, there's so many good memories that I had, and so many. One of the things that was particularly, I would say, exciting for me was one experience when I had in Doha, Qatar, when I was the director of resource mobilization, and we were invited by Qatar to come to a meeting there to our third replenishment consultation. And they told us that it would be a very significant contribution. So I said, but I want to see it. Show me the statement of the minister so I know what you mean. But anyways, their idea of significant was $1.1 million. And I said, that's not a significant contribution. And I only had 2 days to change the position of the country. 2 days. Because on Saturday the minister was coming and was going to make an announcement on what is their contribution. And I said to my counterparts in Qatar, I said, what do we need to do? Tell me, we're ready to work day and night to get it done. Just tell me what it is. And we ended up doing briefs and all the information, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, bang, bang, doing luncheons, dinners with everybody. And on Saturday, the minister came and announced a $10 million contribution. And that's when you change a position within 2 days, not an easy task. It was a very successful outcome. And,
definitely sounds like it.
Yeah, but it's also gratifying because I didn't do it alone. I obviously had to have partners, I had to have supporters, I had to have people who were able to be technical staff who could give me the data and information like that, who could do various searches and do an analysis, all in a very short period of time. That's critical. And therefore, your alliances, your network are very important.
So is this also the hardest task you've been assigned to?
No, actually, interestingly, the one task that I was given was when the president of my organization, when I was in the U.S., the director of the North American office, said to me, I would like you to organize a conference in this small town called Al-Qaeda, Iowa. I said, but I don't even know where Al-Qaeda is. So I looked that up, and it's a population of 200 families, 600 people altogether. And he says, I want a big conference, 250 people. I said, how? Where? So I said, please, I need to go on mission there to check and see the situation, and then I'll tell you if it's possible. So I go there, I fly and take a car because there's no, of course, direct flights to this little town. And I found out that the situation was that they only had one motel for 18 rooms. And how am I going to get 250 people to come to a conference? What would interest them? Well, I know that Minnesota had a big university, Minnesota. Wisconsin was another state, had a very big university. So I thought, okay, if I can get the town and the mayor to agree to and submit a decree that people in the community will host a guest from university in Minnesota or Wisconsin, then I can actually expand the participants and get the congressman from this state, the senator from that state, and make it really an So anyways, all that, it took a whole year to prepare. And when I finished that, and all went well, it was excellent conference, the president said to me, "Vera, but this conference looked effortless." I said, "No, Mr. President, the reason it was effortless because there was a lot of effort put into it. And that was, a difficult task. But what the gratification is that you got it through, you got it done, and it was determination. You should never shy away from difficult tasks. Try to see how you can get it accomplished, and that's what I did."
That's great. It sounds really gratifying, actually.
Yeah, it is gratifying because you realize that when you get tested and you are told do something and you say at first it's not possible, but then you start thinking about it and you analyze it and you do the necessary research, you find actually there may be solutions. And that's, for me, that's always been the gratifying thing. So when someone tells me no, I never accept it, an answer. I find a way to see if I can, achieve the yes on that, and what it will take to get a yes.
That is actually really inspiring.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and also your speech today was really inspirational and kind of transmitted us your passion about your job. So my question now is, can you tell us a negative aspect of your job?
Sure, easily. And the difficulty is of course, always the politicking in an office. Always there. It's managing that is the most difficult. Because you'll have jealousies, you'll have people trying to move things around on your back, you have to constantly watch it. So you're always on, basically, you have to be cognizant of the situation, and people who are engaged, you have to manage those relations effectively, because that's where I think is the most difficult part. Managing relations with people and being sensitive about their particular issues, particular insecurities, all kinds of things. And sometimes you forget, that you might have just said something that could have steered this person going into direction totally unproductive to you, and you can get the approval for a particular policy direction in the organization because that person felt offended and you didn't know that. So human relations, working with, of course, a variety of cultures, which you also have to be cognizant, very important. And you have to, that is the most difficult task. But again, rewarding once you learn that you have to do it, and you engage accordingly with people that you're speaking to or partnering with.
I see. Thank you very much. And last questions, just to find more about yourself. If you could describe yourself in 3 words, what would those words be?
Well, I would say 3. I'm very passionate about the issues. I'm very innovative in terms of I always look for solutions to problems, and to that excites me because I find that's so innovation, and also I am very well organized and structured. So between those 3 things, with the passion and the innovation, organization, and being able to put it all together, is absolutely critical.
Definitely sounds like it. And last question, if you could make a wish today, what would that wish be?
It's always a wish that we could have a much more peaceful world, but I'm afraid that it's more of a wish than I can possibly achieve it. I think we continuously have to work on that. I mean, we have to create better understanding between cultures and peoples. And now we have, obviously, this is a period where I think it's really civilization clashes. And we have to find a way of integrating that and making sure that people realize that they all can have a very positive contribution to the world and society. We don't have to have the clashes, cultural and civilization clashes. We can still coexist and share this wonderful planet together.
But you have already done a lot for us all, basically. So thank you very much for this, and thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much.